Hey friends, I'm Bryony. I currently live in two off-grid tiny houses and I'm about to buy a third. Let's talk about it. I'm so excited to be having this conversation. I'm so excited. As you may know, my current 6 meter tiny house I bought pre-loved, which meant I had zero say about the design. And with my meager little $35,000 budget, I really had to take what I could get, and beggars couldn't be choosers, and all sorts of analogies. But I get to design my own house this time, which is so exciting. So the first step with design side of things is I've created two lists. One is my deal breakers list, so I have to have absolutely essentials, would not be able to function, be a happy human without them things. And then on the second column, I've got my wish list. So things that would be nice to have, maybe a bit of a bougie, luxury kind of extra, something that would just be like icing on the cake, chef's kiss, something that would make me feel like I've kind of made it, I guess. So the first thing on my essentials list is it needs to be a ground floor design. I'm 6'3". I hate the idea of sitting up in bed and banging my head on a loft. My knees would not cope with climbing lofts. And I'm at that stage in my life where I get up during the night to go powder my nose in the bathroom. So doing that at 3 a.m. down a loft stairs is just an accident waiting to happen because I'm kind of an uncoordinated Gumby and not particularly athletic. And I just see that being a recipe for disaster. So it has to be ground floor with a bedroom on the ground floor. My current tiny house is single level with no loft. That works really well for me. There's 2 steps up to what is kind of a platform bed at the moment, and that works really well. So I'd be happy with something similar, or even an enclosed ground floor bedroom. I haven't decided, but the bedroom really needs to be on the ground floor and no lofts because I'm not getting up there, banging my head, and making beds up there in 30-degree weather just does not appeal to me. So ground floor it is. The second thing on my essentials list is a good kitchen. My current tiny house has what you would call a kitchenette. So I have my sink, which is about this big. I have one side of bench space, which is just where all my junk goes, like keys, purse, and stuff when I come home, and my food prep space. And then on the other side, this much is where I've got a plug-in single electric plug-in gas cooktop for cooking and things, which is really not ideal. There's no room for my coffee machine. There's no room for any other food preparation, dining space. There's no dining table there at the moment. That's a whole other thing. But I really need a kitchen because I don't love to cook, but I want to have that as an option with a reasonably sized kitchen. To that same end, the next, probably the third thing on that list is I'm going to have a big work from home space. On my current property where I am, I have my separate tiny house, but when I go to work and I put my work hat on in the morning, I have a separate office pod, which is where I'm recording right now, which is 3 meters by 3 meters on ground. So it's on stumps, it's fixed to the ground. So if anyone asks, it's a class 1A shed, which I've got a solar battery and a few bits and pieces so that I can work and I can run my laptop and my computer and everything from here. I'm not going to have that when I'm moving. I'm going to miss it because I spent so much time, energy, and money doing up this room to be exactly what I needed it to be, to have all the storage, beautiful light. As you can see behind me, like I have picture windows to the nature around me, and I love being in this space. I love recording. I love writing here. I love everything about it. So I'm really, really going to miss this, but we'll have to design something better. So if I'm designing a ground floor single level house, it's going to have to possibly be a big one because I need a big work from home space. I don't know how that's going to work. I've seen a lot of tiny houses with like a fold down or a breakfast bar situation where the actual timber you sit and eat is about that big. I can't see me working from that. It would work okay with a laptop because you could fold it down, chuck it in a drawer or something when you're done at the end of the day. But I need more room than that, especially given that I'm doing a lot of visual stuff online. I've recently bought an iMac, which is a much bigger, if you've got one, go Mac users. Once you go Mac, you'll never go back, right? And the screen is like that big, and it needs to be a reasonable distance away from my face when I'm working. So I've measured it up. I sat that down on the bench, measured my current workbench. My workbench here right now in front of me is about 700 mil, so 70 centimeters deep. And that works perfectly for me. There's plenty of room for the computer, keyboard, mouse, Starlink modem, and all the other bits and pieces I need to be able to spread out and have it pretty and productive at the same time. The new place I'm going won't have that, so that's all going to have to be integrated into my tiny house. So I'm a little bit scared about how big this thing's going to have to potentially be, and I'm going to need quite a deep bench for my computer workspace. I don't know how that's going to work given the size of breakfast bars I've seen. I've never seen one with a big dining table. They just don't seem to work. So I have no idea how to work that into a design, and I'm going to need some help. And fortunately, there's a Tiny House Expo coming up. At the end of September is the Cleveland, their flagship show, which is their big one. Word on the street is that there's about 50 or 60 tiny houses coming to that. So as much as I've seen hundreds and hundreds of tiny houses over the last few years, because I work in the industry, I want to pick and choose the best bits of all of them. But even me now, I'm still out there looking for inspo with what I need in the back of my mind for a change. Normally I'm looking at them going, this is great, you know, it's a good quality build, it's a builder that I would recommend, or whatever the case may be. But now that can't believe I'm actually pioneering my own design and build now, I'm looking at builders and what's out there with fresh eyes and looking at them through the lens of what I need for my own build. So I get where you guys are coming from now, believe me. So I'm very excited and very much looking forward to Cleveland to have a look at everything that's there. I haven't seen a lot of builders doing single level designs. Most of them are lofts. So it's going to be really interesting to have a look and see who's doing the single level designs and then pick one of those, I guess, to start conversations with and that sort of thing. One of the other things that's kind of bugged me about my current tiny house is the clothes storage situation. At the moment in my current tiny house, there's no hanging storage. And I am absolutely a capsule wardrobe girl. I recently went away for the weekend and pretty much everything I own fitted into 1.5 little suitcases, like a big international suitcase and a weekend bag. And that's my entire closet. We don't really call them closets here in Australia, do we? But I need some hanging space. I have 1 or 2 dresses on a coat hanger hung on the back of the bathroom door, which is not ideal. I mean, it's done the job, but it's not ideal. So I'm ready for ideal now. So I would really love some actual hanging space. My current other clothes storage, I have things folded, I want to say neatly, but that'd be a lie, in some big black plastic tubs about yay big. My modular couch, built-in couch, has a lift-up lid. It's on a hinge, but there's no gas struts or anything. So at the moment, you lift it up, you use your elbow and hip and shoulder to keep it open while you bend down in the dark and try and find which tub has your clothes in it. You've got a little tub for your, socks and underwear. You've got one for pants, one for dresses, one for whatever. And it's kind of hard to do that and grab the things you want, and you end up with like sore shoulders, and it's not ideal. So I'd really like a nice wardrobe. I'm not really a clothes kind of girl, as you can probably tell from any and all of my videos. But it would be really nice to have somewhere that I could put some nice clothes and feel like they're worthy of the space and hang things up. And I've had to buy a spectacular gown for the awards next month. So yeah, I'm going to need somewhere to put that and other clothing of that caliber moving forward. And shoes. Not a shoe girl either. I own the sum total of 5 pairs of shoes. I have like 2 pairs of sneakers, a pair of flip-flops, sandals, and like gumboots that I use, and that's about it. So I don't need much shoe storage. But my current house doesn't have any. They just sort of sit awkwardly on the floor inside the door, and there's nowhere I can put them in a specific cupboard. New house, I would like actual shoe storage. That shouldn't be too much to ask, right? Now, that's the essentials list. What's on my wish list though? The wish list is all the fun bits and pieces. So I would love a big picture window. My current tiny house, I go to sleep looking out this massive picture window. I can watch the sunrise in the morning. I watch the full moon rise over the horizon through the trees. I get beautiful sunrises. I get to fall asleep looking at the stars, which is just, if you've never done it, it's such a game changer, and I think it helps with your circadian rhythms and all that sort of thing as well. So I absolutely love that. If I could have a picture window, that'd be amazing. I would really love a wood fireplace. My current tiny house is only 6 meters. Until now, Ryder's has been quite the little ADHD kind of klutz, let's say, and I would not trust him not to have an accident with a wood heater in such a small space. So given that it's obvious I'm going to have to go a bit bigger with the next build, it would be great if I could find a little corner somewhere for a wood heater just for that ambience. I know tiny houses generally don't need a lot of heating and cooling anyway because of the size of them, and they're really easy to keep the climate control happening. But like a wood heater, you just can't go past it, and that would be really nice. So wood heater is definitely on the list. I guess the final thing on my wish list is that I really want this house to feel like an upgrade. I want it to feel a bit luxurious. I love the coastal aesthetic. I've always been a beach baby, and I used to have like blue and yellow colored stuff when I was in the 90s. I built a traditional home in the 90s with husband number one, where everything was bright blue and yellow, like beach coastal vibes, because that was the thing back in the 90s, right? But I'd really love to do like an elevated luxury build that's in coastal. And I've been scrolling through things like Pinterest and other people's dream boards and tiny house inspo and everything, and I've not seen anything that really hits the nail on the head. I love the coastal aesthetic, but I want it to feel like a really elegant, beautiful space that makes you stand taller and want to be a better person when you walk into it. And maybe that sounds kind of wanky, but I feel like that's what I'm ready for now. And again, I've not seen anything like that yet. So next step, choose a builder. I will let you know when the awards are over. I will go shopping, I guess, at the Cleveland Tiny Home Expo. I'm going to go look at some builds. And next stop, talking to a builder. Stick around for all the fun builder conversations because the next step is choosing a builder and giving them a big wad of cash. Talk soon.